Greetings to all. How are you? It's the 1st of February on a pretty cool winter day. It has been real winter the last month or so. Usually in New Hampshire, there's a respite somewhere in the middle where things warm up a little bit and maybe a rain or something. But it has just been straight through winter in New Hampshire. Most days here, at least mornings when I wake up, below zero, and then creeping up. Today it will be in the 20s, I think. And then tomorrow, out of character for the last 30 plus days, supposed to get to 40 degrees, but it's not going to rain, so the skiing will still be good. So at the same time, I've been, once you get into the middle of winter, you go outside. Outside is great. That's where all my wood is stacked. But I just kind of a little chilled to the bone after being outside a little bit today. And so I'm, inspired, I guess, by some outdoor pictures. There's my Brad Washburn prints, the 16 by 20s that he took on his Fairchild K22 camera on aerial reconnaissance of Mount McKinley here. And this picture here is that he took at 16,000 feet on the first ascent of the West Buttress in 1951. And that's at 16,000 feet, and the mountain in the background is Mount Foraker. And I don't know if you can quite see, but in that picture is an ice axe. And Brad gifted me that photograph some years ago before he passed away, and I cherish it and look at it every day. And on at least that one, he signed the bottom of it to me. And so some of my cherished things, I don't have a lot of things, but I do have some things, and the ones that I keep, I love. And below that Brad Washburn is this picture of Paul Butterfield. That photograph of the great blues harp legend, Paul Butterfield, who passed away 25 plus years ago, was given to me by his son, Gabriel, one of my dear friends whom I consider really a brother in many respects. So blah, blah, blah. Here I am inside because I don't want to be outside right now, even though it's a beautiful sunny day. Last few days have been classic. I'm notorious for feeding birds, not throughout the year. In the summer, they can kind of go do their own things. I'll do a hummingbird feeder in the spring through the summer. But the other guys, they can go forage for themselves. I think you're actually doing a disservice to some birds to have them rely on you even in the summer. But in the winter, man, I'm a pushover. And so the other day I was sitting about where I am right now, and I looked at my cat who was up on this little platform in front of a window, and I could see him looking up in the trees. And I thought, oh no, here we go. And sure as heck, it was a turkey. And so 3 turkeys discovered the bird seed that I throw out. And it's one thing to have 12 juncos or 5 chickadees or something, or even the boisterous blue jays that come here. It takes them a while to eat the food. But 3 turkeys, bang, 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 like in 10 minutes, it's gone. So I went to Paris Farmers Union today and got a 50, this is so bad, I got a 50-pound bag of corn, and I just threw a ton of it out there. I was like away down the driveway. So the turkeys, why? I'm telling you why I did the 50-pound bag, because yesterday I'm sitting there and I had to go out to the car, and now there's like 13 or 14 turkeys. So apparently word is out that there is a pushover in the neighborhood feeding the birds, and all the turkeys know. And this is a group of turkeys I see all the time driving up and down the road near where I live. I'm like, I pray they don't learn about the bird food that I put out. And sure as heck yesterday. So I walked outside slowly. These things are so entitled. They just slowly walked away. Just like actually not, they didn't fly. They didn't run. They were just like incensed that I would come out and make them move away so I could make it to the car. They're all over the place. So that's my turkey story. They're back, and now they have 50 pounds of corn. Once the snow melts, boom, the gig's up. They can go fend for themselves, but the turkeys are welcome. We've got mourning doves, chickadees, slate-bellied juncos, titmice, some two male cardinals and at least one female. There was such a brutal storm less than a week ago, and I haven't seen the female since. So I'm praying that she's okay. My mom was a huge cardinal person. She thought every time she saw a cardinal, she thought my father was visiting, right? The spirit of people in the cardinal. Oh, your father's visiting. So I'm at least going to give that to her, that there are two cardinals, males, who flit around, and then the female. I'm thinking, okay, I'll give it to my mom. My mom, dad, and brother are visiting when the three cardinals are here. But the big storm, the female cardinal has not appeared since. So hopefully my mom returns for a visit. I'm looking out, and the Blue Jays are like 15-year-old boisterous boys who just smoked pot during, like, before they walked into school, and they yell and rah, rah. They go crazy. I love them. They're the best. But man, can they make a racket. So on to another couple quick little things. But before I go on to the main topic of the day, I am going to have a special note of a different kind of announcement that I'm only sharing. Yes, this is just my little twist to you. I'm only sharing with my Patreon sponsors, if you will. And I have very few, but I have a few loyal people who actually subscribe to me on Patreon, and I endeavor to bring them monthly something above and beyond that I don't give anybody else. And so if you want to see what I'm about to talk about on Patreon, you got to go there and you got to become a sponsor. It's not that much. It's like $3 a month. And, you know, I mean, I'm not Tom Brady or anything, you know, who could do like probably $50 a month and everybody would do it, right? And that is the topic of today. Tom Brady officially announced his retirement today or last night, and after the word of it leaked out, and that was big. I admit, I got a text from my son. Actually, right before I got a text from my son, I saw a report of it, like Tom Brady's set to retire, and I didn't see anything official. And I'm going to admit to you, I got emotional. I'm not emotional now. That was literally not me, like, hey, I got emotional again. I got emotional. I felt really, really moved when I learned that he is retiring. And for you non-New England Patriots fans out there, let's just remove the idea of Tom Brady destroying whomever your favorite team is, unless you're a Giants fan or a Philadelphia Eagles fan, which is totally cool. Kitty! And this is Simba. Hi, Simba, look at the camera. Simba, who watches the red squirrel and chipmunk every day out there, and showed me that there were turkeys. Here's the thing about Tom Brady. One, yeah, he brought a lot of joy to New England Patriots fans everywhere. But my sons basically grew up with Tom Brady. They grew up in that era, in 2002, if you will, the first Super Bowl. That was actually, I think the Super Bowl was in 2003, but the 2002 season, does that make sense? Something like that. My sons were really, really young. And honestly, the Super Bowl, that when they beat the Seattle Seahawks in that final moment of the game when Malcolm Butler made the interception basically at the end zone line when the Seahawks were going to finish it up and win the Super Bowl, I am being completely honest with you. Right now, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. I was there with my sons watching it on TV in Jackson at the cabin that I used to be at. That moment was literally one of the greatest moments of my life. Honestly, and it wasn't just because the New England Patriots won the Super Bowl. My boys and I, we got into a circle, the three of us, and we jumped up and down crying. And it's like, so when Tom Brady retires, how could I not get emotional? Like some of the, literally, and not just sports related, greatest moment of my life. Okay, admittedly, the birth of my sons, way better. and even though I'm not married anymore, getting married was right up there. But the birth of my sons, truly, getting divorced was one of the low, right down there. Like that was not good. But getting married was pretty amazing too. So I'm just like putting it in perspective that the Patriots won the Super Bowl, whatever. But that moment with my sons, and then a couple of years later when one of my sons was at college and my other was home with me watching, they won and they came back to beat the Atlanta Falcons. We had my older son on FaceTime watching it and did it again virtually, my younger son and I jumping up and down. That was pretty cool too. So Tom Brady, it brings up a lot of emotion. This is some of the greatest times, like watching so many games with my kids and devolving when like they gave up the AFC Championship game to the Indianapolis Colts. I was so mad. I literally threw the clicker, and my son, who was really small at the time, was like, Dad, easy on the emotional level of the Patriots losing the game. So I go to Twitter, I go to Facebook, I go to look, just see what the chatter is. And it blows my mind how many negative things people are saying about Tom Brady, about like cheating and he's the cheater and Deflategate. It's like only losers, literally losers, jealous people, bitter people would say that. It's like, do people even know that during Deflategate, in that season where they say he released air from the footballs, let's just say he did. Let's just say he did it. And he probably did. I read a interview with a guy from the Philadelphia Eagles who said every single quarterback in the entire football league did it. I don't know if they still do it, but every single one did it, including filming practices, which the Spygate thing with just Bill Belichick was like, screw that, I'm not going to stop. But the league gave a mandate to all the coaches to quit filming, and Belichick was like, nobody's going to quit filming, I'm going to keep filming. And they just came down hard on him. So let's just say he did deflate the footballs. So what happens? They lose a first-round draft pick and I think a fourth-round draft pick. And Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games, so he didn't get to play the first 4 games of that season. Do you not think that the remainder of that season, that he obviously wasn't then deflating footballs, because I don't even think he could get close to the footballs until he was actually on the field, right? So there was obviously no cheating from game 5 onward. He goes on after ESPN went completely out of their way to discredit him and take him out at the knees. ESPN, whom I like to call the evil empire, now is all trying to be buddy-buddy with Tom Brady. They did nothing but discredit him over and over and over, and just piled on the hate and the lies about him, all the other stuff that went around there. Won the Super Bowl that year, and Roger Goodell, who many people, he's the chairman, the CEO, or runs the NFL kind of league, if you will, the president of the league, was there. And it was great. It was just so cool. Brady was like, okay, I'm going to win anyway, even when I can't cheat. So anyway, this is it. So Tom Brady's up here, like way up there in space, right? In terms of his stature. He's not quite Paul McCartney in terms of how well the world knows him. But in the United States, boom, let me put it that way. In the United States, yeah, I'd be willing to say more people know who Tom Brady is than Paul McCartney. Certainly in this day and age with all the young people who don't even know who the freaking Beatles are, some people at least, not many, but people who might not have parents and were raised by wolves in the woods. And so there's Tom Brady like up there, and like I'm like down like there, right? Like way down. But something happened recently. I just like tipped the scale into this thing where I've got a couple of videos on my YouTube channel, the Happiness Quotient one, where there's like 50,000 views of this video, almost 750,000 views of another video, 50,000 of this, 80,000 of that. Something happened. I tipped the scale where people are starting to take pop shots at me. And I look over the camera and there's a turkey. So they're here, baby. I'm going to have to post a picture of our turkey friends later. But people have been taking pop shots at me. And, that's cool. It's cool. But you're always trying to find a way. How do you respond? How do you respond to a pot shot? Like to somebody like just saying something absurd about you. The one classic one that I got was Tom is a fraud. And I'm like, okay. Like honestly, let's just say I'm a fraud. How would that person know? And it was on YouTube too. And this person had some weird name. And anyway, admittedly, I deleted it. Yes. Am I thin skinned? Say what you will. But personal fodder in terms of looks, maybe a joke about my hairline or something, which is actually valid, but no, there's no room for that. I have no tolerance for that. And if somebody says you're a fraud, I'm just kind of like, there's no room for that. We don't need that. If you want to say, hey, your video sucked and here's why I didn't like it, like I'm down for that. You know what I mean? So I've been reading this book. Sorry, Kitty. I've been reading this book, the Upanishads. If you don't know what it is, it's an ancient text of it goes back 3,000 years. And it's the simple, if you will, the Indian philosophy. It's very ancient. I'm new to it. I've heard about it. I understand the basics of it. I haven't read a lot of it. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Upanishads or Upanishads. But I decided it was high time that I read it because I've done so much research into Buddhism and in the writings and the things that took place back then. Not a Buddhist. Please don't call me a Buddhist because I'm not a Buddhist, but I have read and studied it intensely. The life of the Buddha, Gautama, and the things that happened in Vipassana meditation and all that jazz. Anyway, I'm going to read you something. So I sat there and I stewed about this whole Tom is a fraud thing for a while. I admit, I didn't act out online, but I woke up in the middle of the night. I'm like, am I a fraud? Nobody wants to be called a fraud. You know what I mean? Like, and so you start thinking about that. Like I put this image out to the world, and that's really one of the reasons I'm doing like this right now. It's like, this is me. You're just hearing it. I'm not bullshitting you. You know what I mean? But I read in the first Upanishad, it's called the Isha Upanishad. This is the coolest thing, and I like this right now. He who sees all beings in the self, and the self in all beings, no longer hides in fear. That's pretty cool, right? So he who sees all beings in the self and the self in all beings no longer hides in fear. Next, number 7. This I'm skipping in. For the man of wisdom, and I'm not saying that I am, but I endeavor to be. Okay? For the man of wisdom, in whom all beings have become his own self. Remember what I just read. How can delusion, how can sorrow befall that seer of oneness? So, to the man who said, I'm assuming it was a guy, Tom is a fraud, that I share with you, the wisdom from the ancient Indian texts of the Upanishads. And that, my friends, is how I will leave you today. There are more turkeys now walking up on the banister, so I'm eye level with the turkeys. They're actually really beautiful, but they just eat so much food. Guys, go inward, be inward, and see self in all beings, and see all beings in self. Is that the same thing, right? We're all one. We're all one. Tom Brady is just a manifestation of something that is exceptional and extreme, but we're all part of that. We're all together in this thing. So be kind, be gentle, and seek truth. Speak truth, which sometimes does not come off as kindness, but speaking truth is really the way to see oneself. So, guys, I love you. For those people who are interested, my Patreon page will be linked below this video in the notes. If not, leave a comment. Please subscribe and come back often. Let me know what you think and hit like as well. So, all my love to you, all my kindness and unfraudness. I know it's not a word, but I am inventing words. So that's my thing. Be well. Have a great day.